Let's talk about your cat animation made using Callipeg for the September Animation Challenge. You can watch the full compilation with sound with the link below. First, let's talk about the animation from Ferk 248. I love the simple design, it's pretty rough, and it's really taking advantage of simple shapes, like this. It becomes kind of a hill before becoming a huge shape, like this. Here you have a boiling line, which moves quite a lot and gives that rough effect. We can also see the rough animation under it. And there isn't many drawings. Here there is no breakdown, no in between, it just pops before slowing down and going back and pop again in the other direction. Very simple ideas, but very efficient. Here you can see the anticipation, so going down and closing the eyes. Here it's kind of a smear frame, but a subtle one, it's not very deformed. I think that here the arc is well done. We have some time to see the open mouth. There is a small detail here with the frown, and going back with an is out and an is in. And kind of an overshoot here. So the head goes a bit further away and then goes back. I really like that pose here, very lively. And the stretch, like that. I think it's a very good animation, simple, efficient and appealing. Now we have the animation from Nido Estudio, which is more cleaned animation in the way that the shape is not moving a lot. It's more of a flat design animation. There is probably some transformation layers involved in it. And also it's a full sequence, so we have to understand the space. It's pretty simple here, it's just full front and then full front in the point of view of the cat. I understand why you did go down like that. And also we can see rotation of the head, which is nice, because it's not only going down like this, but like that. It's always nice to add some depth in your animation, so moving the head, having some rotation of the body, not thinking of one flat axis, but also to the z-axis in a way, the depth. But I think it could have been better, maybe, if it did go that way. So down, but also to the front. So we can really feel the cat going forward. That animation here is pretty nice. So here I think it's kind of strange that the hole is before the cat entering, unless it's made by the smell itself, but I think it should be starting here and not before. Also the cat is pretty stiff here, it's like it's only one drawing, so it could have been a bit more arc like that, and maybe the cat going in that way. Also the animation is pretty separated into parts, so when the eyes are blinking, nothing else is moving, and I like when there is a bit of movement, even like breathing in and out, or a small movement of the head. Even the fish could move a bit when the head is moving. So of course it would be a bit more difficult to animate, but I think it could be a richer shot. And also the blink is made of too many drawings, I guess. So 1, 2, 3, then closed, 1, 2, 3. So yeah, it's kind of mechanical. We can't really feel a natural blink. But congrats for making a full sequence, that's not an easy task. Then we have that animation from Alex, sloppybunnytoons. It's a really nice run cycle. We can really feel some interaction with the sheet here. I love that it takes the shape of the head, and that stretching here is really nice. It's very bouncy. You can also feel the rotation of the head. The head stretches also, so it's very cartoonish. I like that the legs are not just like that, but completely up in the opposite direction. There is a lot of drag in the different elements, so when the body goes down, the back goes up, and the opposite. Here it's pretty subtle, but we can feel the pencil doing that in the depth. So it's not a flat animation, it's really going like that. Also the small detail of the hat staying up before going down and being squashed. That here is also pretty subtle, the way the book is rotating. I think I might have liked to have some ground, just something like this, and lines, and maybe a different color, just to feel a bit more where the character is running. So very nice animation, very bouncy, very cartoonish. Different walk cycles from Charleen E Giles. The loop is not perfect, but that's probably due to my editing. I really like the volume you added to the characters. So the head turns here. I really like that pose in particular, with some gaps in the lines. You can see also here, it's a moving shape. So it's really like this. It might be a bit mechanical here with that. I think it's going backwards pretty quickly, so maybe a bit too quickly, like this. And that one is much more equally spaced. So here it's slow, and here it's fast. And maybe that pose here is a bit too backwards, because it makes a pop, like that. The feet going backwards and then upwards. So I would have maybe made it like that, to have an arc like this and not like that. I hope it's clear because I'm not sure how to show this. You can also feel different personalities, with that one being much more dancing in a way, more happy. Those ones are very similar, and that one is pretty much proud. I can see something here also. I think it's appearing a bit too fast, or disappearing too fast, or maybe just moving too much. So here it's going back and then disappearing in a frame like that. So maybe we could feel a bit more of it disappearing in the perspective and not just popping out. And here the shapes are really moving a lot, changing the volume. It's a difficult shot, it's not easy to manage so many walk cycles, and that's my small feedback about it. Animation from Hilaire van den Broeck. We can see here the body is not moving, only the expression. Personally, I always like to draw again the character, so there is not just a part moving, but all the body at every time. Then we can see kind of an anticipation here, or a thought process. I like here the way the leg is just stretching in a way, and then boom, completely opened. Then it's kind of the classic yawn, stretching like that on the extremes. A nice rotation of the head here. I really like that frame, anticipation. And then the legs are still on the ground before the jump to make more impact. So it's also a very bouncy animation. Simple shapes, volume nicely handled, so great animation. So here I will show you this shot from John O'Aaron with the voice because there is some lip sync.
What do we do? I think we're supposed to move. More than that. Oh. Oh, that's fun. More. Here's...
The design are pretty simple, it's a pretty flat, sketchy look. There is something I find a bit strange, is a kind of fadings between the shapes. So I don't know if it's due to compression maybe of the video. The characters are not moving a lot, but that's also part of the gag, I guess. Here we can really feel the squash and stretch. The same drawing, simply transformed like this. So it seems kind of artificial in a way, but also more funny, I guess. And also, I think it could be more wide, because if you have a shape like that, when you squash, it could be really, really large, like this, to have the same volume. So if I transform it, I may do that, but also this, a bit more than what you did here, I guess. And here, when it's coming back, there could be another pose here, and then coming back a bit more up, and then coming back here to have kind of a bounce. Here we don't have a bounce. It's really, I go up and then up, stop. I really like the eyes here. We can really feel kind of a, what? So here with the strange fade in, fade out, we can't really appreciate the animation, unfortunately. So it's difficult to see how the character is bouncing. But I think it's a pretty good sequence. It's cartoonish, it's a bit of absurd. So yeah, nice work. And you could do a full series of short animation with those characters. Walk cycle animation from Peg. First, I would say that the character is really sliding, like here for example, so I think there is not enough stability. The foot should be on the floor and stay there, while the other one is passing and then going down. So it should stay there until this one is here. I like the arms movement, but I think it's a bit dislocated for the shoulders, or at least we can't feel the shoulder on every part. Here it seems to be there, and here it seems to be here, so it's not really in a still position there. We can really feel the difference here between that and that. So you have to be sure that the shoulders are always in the same position, at least in relation to the body, because it can move like this, like that, and so on. But the center of rotation for the arm should be always the same. I really like what you did with the feet here. Having some torsion movement, we can see the bottom of it, so it helps a lot with the volume. Even though I think it's moving toward us, like this, which might be a bit strange, but I'm not sure of it. The rotation of the head is pretty well done. Maybe too much time here and not enough time here. Yeah, when going to the left, it seems to be much quicker. So it's kind of off balance also, because it's here and then here. I'm moving so much when I talk about animation. So it's kind of You also made some waves with the tail, but it could be a bit less stiff. It's not that well done, but it's an example of what could be possible. That's just a few advices once again, and I hope this will help. Animation from Ren Glend Art. The design is much more sharp, which is probably not easy to make consistent, because there is a lot of different shapes and angles. I like that the focus is really clear from the start. The character is entering the shot with an intention. So here, the blinking is probably too fast. And also it's happening when the character is still. So it could be happening there, for example. So not blinking, blinking, and opening the eye here during a movement. It could make it a bit less mechanical. Also here, it seems to smile, then serious, and then kind of a smile again. So it's kind of a change in intention to me. I think the walk cycle is pretty well done. We can see the legs being in a still position when walking. Here it's very snappy. Since there is a bit more drawings in the rest of the animation, I might have gone for maybe a transition, a breakdown between that and that. It seems a bit much here in regard of what's in the rest of your shot. I think here the leg doesn't have the same size, so it seems to be a bit too long here. Also, we can see that nothing is moving, and I guess we could do something like that. So the head going from that to that, maybe. So it's not easy to show, but it's a rotation like that. Here it seems to be very fast also, in just a few frames. It touches for a few frames, okay, and then back one drawing, and that here seems to be too fast. And too many things at the same time. So the claws, the head movement, the tail movement, all happening in one frame. Explosion. I don't know if it's good or not to have the cat move at the same moment, the exact same drawing as the explosion. Maybe it works better for the impact, maybe it could be the explosion and then the movement to have kind of a delay. I'm not sure. And here the cat could be maybe more stretch like that. I think it's a bit too stiff here. Nice work on the balloon here, going down. So yeah, it's a nice shot with intention and a short story. Animation from Sinan Arslan, and I really like the graphic style of it. With a pencil brush, I guess, and the work on the shape is really nicely done. Because we have some very sharp shapes like that, so it's basically just a triangle. The licking is very cartoony also, but the tongue is maybe changing too much volume. So it's really big here, and then pretty small here, but I guess it's just going back. That pose here is really funny because we can see the cat attitude of just noticing something and the tongue is still out, the pupils scaling up. So that's also when we can see the intention in the character. Here it might be a bit too sliding in the movement, it seems to work, and I really like that here, that shape. And that to me is really a cat attitude to make a small jump, a bit of a smear frame, and the play on the legs is really nice, really feel the movement of it. Here I'm not sure about the physics, because it's going up just in one direction and then going down towards us. So he's doing that and then this and not this. So the physics seems to be a bit off. Very nice work on the shapes and on the small jumps. I think the posing is really good. And the last animation is a shot I made, mixing 2D in Callipeg and 3D in Blender. So I wanted to make a gumball animation and making it really cartoonish. That's not what I'm used to do. So making that, kind of the spaghetti body, was kind of a challenge because I had to stretch like that and then slow down the arms, having some volume on the hand, making some extreme expressions with the face, like this here. And to mix 2D and 3D, I exported my 2D animation into a OCA sequence to Blender and imported every layers of it, and then placed the different planes within my scene. And I also added some 3D animation for the apples in a very snappy way. So it was a pretty complex animation to do, but also pretty fun. That's it for your cat animation review. I will do next the monsters and creatures review from the October challenge, and the Callipeg animation challenge of November is about pizza. So now is the time for you to start animating anywhere with Callipeg.